Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night wherever in the world you are. My name is Noah MP3. I hope you guys are ready for a very fun video. A slightly different thing this time. So today I'm going to be showing my good friend Soulblaze, who is slightly familiar with the Pokémon TCG, some cards from Expanded, so older cards, and he's going to have to guess if they're banned in Expanded, yes or no. So, hello Soul, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
What's good, YouTube? My name is Soulblaze, your Pokemon, more so video game aficionado, not really that well versed in the TCG. I'm playing a little bit after Noah here introduced me to it, and kind of rolled with just some standards. So I think I'm a prodigy. We'll see. We'll let the cards decide.
Yeah, so just to let everyone know, you have like slight familiarity with Standard. You know like a few meta deck compositions, but you know how all the basic rules of the game work, right?
Yeah, assuming it's the same standard that I've been playing a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. That's great. So let's dive into our first cards. Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Bro's born ready. Bro is born ready. We're gonna start off with a banger. Here you go.
Lysander's Trump card. Okay. Each player shuffles all cards in his or her discard pile into his or her deck, except for Lysander's Trump card. Okay. All cards in their discard pile into the deck.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so that's a pretty good supporter.
It is a supporter, so you can only play one per turn.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and say here it's not banned.
You think this card is not banned, just for the record, locking it in?
Yeah, I'm locking it.
This card is the first ever card that got banned when it was released in Standard. Actually, this card is giga broken.
Why?
Like, absolutely fucking broken. Because, I mean, the card is a problem in and of itself, but I'm going to show you, of course, a few cards that have to do with this. First and foremost, here's a very important card going with this, VS Seeker, which is an item card that just grabs a supporter card from your discard pile to your hand. So you can have Lysander's Trump card easily available, and basically these two cards together make a looping combo. As in, okay, you rip through your whole deck with some kind of turbo draw engine, you play Lysander's Trump cards, and then you VS Seeker your Lysander's Trump card back, and you basically have no discard pile, besides a VS Seeker, which you can then get back with Lysander's Trump cards. So you basically are eliminating one key component of Pokemon, being resource management. Resource management is not a thing anymore. You basically render all control and mill decks completely useless. Decks that are trying to lock you out of your resources.
Yeah, basically decks that are trying to break.
Exactly. And what makes this even better is that some cards, like cards you might have seen in Standard, like Crushing Hammer and Enhanced Hammer, those are balanced around the fact that they can only be played 4 times per game, usually. And back then in Standard, Headringer was also a very annoying card to deal with, which gives a Pokemon more attack cost. If it's attached to one of the Pokemon, you can attach it to an opponent's Pokemon. And basically all cards that are balanced around like, oh, this is a really good effect, but you have to discard some stuff. Like, for example, Professor Juniper was then in Standard. But these days it's called Professor Research as a reprint. Basically, that downside is now also completely negated. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get draw 7. It doesn't matter what I discard because I can get it back anyway very easily with Lysander's Trump cards.
Well, that's true. I'm just more on the
yeah.
Maybe it's more accustomed to my playstyle. I think I would prefer doing some damage. Like,
oh, trust me, you'll be doing damage. Like, the decks this was played in was basically, I don't know if you're very familiar with decks like Roaring Moon EX or Raging Bull EX. Those are decks that are going to be able, those are decks that are able to churn through your deck in like 2 to 3 turns, and then just play a Lysander's Trump card so that they have their discard pile back in their deck again. So these are like the hyper aggro decks. These are not control decks that are playing this. These are like the hyper aggro decks that want to churn through the deck, discard as many things as possible, see as many cards per turn as possible, and then have no downside to that, basically. It's literally a 2-card infinite combo to prevent yourself from ever like decking out, which is the most likely way you're losing the game as one of those hyper aggro decks. And let me tell you, in Standard back in the day, it was also very much possible to turn through your deck in like 3 turns, approximately. So this card, after it was legal for one regional, was promptly banned right after.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, well that gives me some scale of reference. I just thought like, okay, discard pile into the deck.
Yeah, it's your entire discard pile. So every card you've used or discarded, just it's like, oh yeah, you can have that back.
Just based on what I've seen from playing myself, I just don't think my discard piles are that huge.
Yeah, of course, you're not very familiar with that many archetypes yet. Of course, like archetypes you've played like Charizard EX don't really abuse the discard pile that much, because they don't really run many discard draws like Research or many discard churning for stuff like Radiant Greninja plus Magma Basin. That's a common one you can see in Charizard lists. That's like the extent of what discarding does with Charizard EX, but there's a lot of archetypes that can actually abuse discards with items like Dark Patch, for example, which attaches a dark energy from your discard pile to one of your bench dark Pokemon. It's an item card that's in Standard right now, for example.
Right.
That's the main way to abuse the discard pile for dark decks, together with Professor Status Vitality, which can attach basic energies to 2 of your ancient Pokemon. Went from the discard pile into play right away. There's a lot of discard mechanics in Pokemon that you can use or abuse.
Because I kind of forget like cards like Earthen Vessel being pretty good.
Yeah, Earthen Vessel is of course a very recent card, so it's not going to impact any of these, but yeah, there's definitely plenty of powerful other cards that you've never seen before. But I think you can kind of see why Lysander Stormcard was banned. It was basically these decks your deck would basically never lose the deck out anymore, unless you somehow prize like 4 Lysander Stormcards, which is insane. Like that's not gonna happen.
Yeah. You eliminate a lose condition. Okay.
Exactly. You basically auto win against control mill decks. That's what Lysander Stormcard does for you. And like a 2-card combo to just prevent you from losing to 2 whole archetypes is kind of crazy.
Well, it would be 8.
Well, 2-card combo as in like you can also run 1 VS Seeker, 1 Lysander Stormcard. As in like 2 cards in that sense. I think the decks that did the best in that tournament, and like top 8 was like all Lysander Stormcard, by the way, with different kinds of decks. But I think most of them were like 4 VS Seeker, 2 Lysander Stormcards.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah. We started off with a banger, which you did not get right, but you have some more field of reference right now. You're starting to get your footing on... This was not necessarily talk about expanded, more or less just general card information. Now we're going to actually talk about a card that is in expanded only. It's not of course it's not in Standard anymore. What am I talking about? This card came out in like fucking 2015 or something. 2014. Anyway, here's your second card.
Skyfield.
Skyfield.
Each player can have 8 Pokemon on his or her bench. When this card leaves play, each player discards. I think this was banned.
Hold on. We're not even going to talk about this scenario. You're just going to instant rip like bam, banned. What is your thought process behind this? Let me know.
8, like, okay, so this is easier. I think this is easier for me to reference just because I might be horribly wrong on this. Feel free to correct me. But playing the Charizard deck, there is, I don't remember if it's a stadium or a card. It's something that allows me to restrict the bench to 4.
Collapse Stadium.
Yes, there it is.
Yeah.
And I just know that it just fucks certain decks really hard.
Mm-hmm.
You can edit that out if it's PG.
I don't give a shit.
Okay, but what is essentially by playing one collapsed stadium, you basically can brick some decks.
Yeah.
Like I think it was I played like a Champao EX deck. Completely just went off rails because it couldn't play.
Mm-hmm.
It needed an extra bench slot. Or if you play Festival Lead, for example, if you restrict that, it's not going to do as much damage because it does damage based on each bench Pokemon. If you add that up to 8, you have synergy like that, where it counts damage like 20 per each from the bench, for example. That damage is
Yeah.
Insane. And it's a stadium too. So it's like easy to play. It's easy to replace other stadiums with.
But wouldn't Collapse Stadium be like a reason this was not playable?
I don't know how old Collapse Stadium.
Collapse Stadium is not that old, but I'll give you the hint that there is another stadium that reduces bench size.
Still think it's broken.
You still think it's broken? Okay. I'm gonna give you one more hint. One more hint. So in the most recent set that was released, Stellar Crown, there was a stadium added called Area Zero Underdepths, which is basically this effect, but it only is this effect if you have a Terra Pokemon in play. And that card is seeing meta usage right now, but is not nearly broken enough. Do you think the not Terra restriction pushes it above that to like actually broken bannable worthy? Because of course in standard you don't have all the expanded cards. That's like the whole difference.
I think the broken thing here is it says 8.
Just the fact that it's a +3 is the broken thing for you.
From 5 to 8. Collapse Stadium goes from 5 to 4. This doesn't even go from 5 to 6. It goes from 5 to 6, 7 to 8. It's crazy.
Okay.
I think that's crazy.
So you're still sticking with the fact that this is banned?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me explain to you the archetype that abused the stadium the most first. Let me just see if I can send the correct cards. The archetype, it was basically a Mega Rayquaza EX in this format. I'm gonna show you the archetype first.
Dude, I need to see the archetype. I swear it's something like damage off the bench, something.
So I'll show you the archetype in 5 cards. Feel free to read them at your own leisure. Oh, they're uploaded in a little bit of a weird way, but that's okay.
Double colorless energy provides double energy.
It's just turbo without damage reduction, basically.
Times the number of your bench Pokemon. Can we have a round of applause for Soul who cracked the code here? Attach a basic energy from your disc. So it was basically for Megas, right?
Yeah, correct.
Your turn does not end if the Pokemon this card is attached to becomes Emery. Oh, Jesus. Save the deck for up to... Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
So,
called it.
You know what's funny?
What?
This card is not banned.
Is it not?
Skyfield is not banned. It is still very much a playable card in Expanded, but this card is not banned.
Bro.
And you know what's even funnier about that? This archetype actually got stronger after a certain card released in Sun and Moon called Zoroark GX. Which is basically a better attacker than Rayquaza for this deck. It's just a stage 1, and it has the trade ability and can do the same attack for basically like 2 energy, so 1 DCE.
But dude, I feel like...
But the reason this was not banned is because this became legal around the time where there were several archetypes or several cards that could easily fold this deck. So one archetype that could easily fold this deck was the Night March archetype, which I'll show you one card for. I don't know if you've heard of United Wings. The United Wings? Yeah.
So, United Wings versus me.
Yeah, so Night March is identical to United Wings. They have like 3 different Pokemon, and as you can see, this Joltik here hits Rayquaza for weakness. So it was very easy to just farm Mega Rayquaza decks if you were playing Night March. And there was also, like I hinted towards, another card legal in Standard that would easily be able to restrict only your opponent's bench space and not your own, called Parallel City. Give that a read. It's a 2-sided card, so you might have to flip your head reading both parts.
Oh, dude, there's no way. Can you flip it for me? Choose which way this card faces before you play it. Any damage done by attacks from this player, Fire, Water, Grass Pokemon is reduced by 20 before applying weakness.
Yeah, and the other side is that this player can't have more than 3 bench Pokemon.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, this card did come out like 2 expansions after Rayquaza came out in like XY Breakthrough, whereas Skyfield and... By the way, fun fact, Skyfield, Mega Rayquaza EX, Rayquaza Spirit Link, Mega Turbo, and Winona all came out in Roaring Skies. Same expansion, by the way. Absolutely nutty. This honestly, yeah. The Zoroark GX is still a very playable archetype with Skyfield in Expanded right now, but it's not nearly as broken because of Night March being a very obvious counter. United Wings honestly is a better counter to that, weirdly enough, in Expanded right now, because Wattrel just has more HP. It is literally double HP from, and there's more United Wings Pokemon than Night March Pokemon, of course. But this was back in 2015, so of course the power level was a little bit lower than it
I just thought it.
Despite the allegations.
I've been playing like cards that do damage based on bench, and it's like 5 bench space, and that like does a lot of damage. I was just imagining 8 has to go crazy.
Oh, it does go crazy, but just not crazy enough to warrant any bans.
It's kind of like in poker, right? Where everything is, what's it called? The perspective. It's like not relevant, but what's that word? Something is good basically just in comparison to something else, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So this is not that good because something exists that's useful to counter it, but there is like, if it wasn't that, if this played without counterplay, it might have been too aggressive.
Yeah, but to be fair, even like the Zorok GX, DCE, Skyfield, like there's not necessarily a hard counter for that other than like stadium bouncing. It's just like just because the fact that there is like relatively easy counterplay, being like lost vacuum the stadium or play another stadium.
Yeah.
That just makes it like the counterplay is too easy. Like yes, you can get like one big move off, but if they have an immediate response to your stadium, then it's poof. So this is a really good card. Don't get me wrong, really good card. Not ban worthy though.
But I don't think you have any card on here that's not really good, because you need to try and trick me into thinking it's
exactly.
Yeah.
I would say the least good cards in here is a little bit nuts.
Right.
Yeah. But of course, like some of just have flashy effects that don't really live up to what the flashy effects tell. But you're gonna see that. I'm gonna show you the third card.
Okay, third card. Let's go.
Your third card is Trevenant.
I feel like I've seen this. As long as this Pokemon is active, your opponent can't play any item. Free Slam. This attack does 20 damage to your opponent.
So what are our first thoughts? This card, by the way, came out in the first expansion of XY 2014, for reference.
My immediate thought is this is not, because you can switch the active pretty easily, but that's from playing standard now. I don't know if there's that many switch cards that were used then.
I will tell you, Boss's Orders is a card that is in that format as well. It had a different name, it was called Lysander, but it had the same effect.
Right, and then you look at the 110 HP, I think it's a little much, but I don't think that Trevenant necessarily being the active Pokemon is too scary. Just like in terms of racking up the damage. You might have some scary, like, Frostlass equivalent stuff on the bench. But I don't think Trevenant itself is bannable, so I'm gonna say no.
You're gonna say not banned, okay?
I'm gonna say no.
Okay. I'm gonna show you one other card before I reveal you the answer, and just tell me if you change your mind. Okay? This is a really cool card, by the way. Like the break mechanic was really cool.
Okay, wait, hold on. So this is kind of like an entirely new card.
How break cards function is they're basically an evolution of the Pokemon they can be on top of. You basically place the card horizontally over the picture, and they get like an extra attack or an extra ability and extra HP. But everything else that was on the previous card, like the ability and the other attack of Trevenant, are still there.
Now, see, this gives it more HP, and this gives it like, gives it more HP and gives it more damage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And is it like a break restriction? You can only break.
Nope.
There's no restriction.
No restriction for breaks.
Ooh.
Prize card amount doesn't change either. It's just like a new evolution, basically.
And if I said banned on wall 1, that goes.
Well, yeah, one of the two, like either one of the two or 0 of them were banned. Like they were not both banned, of course.
Yeah. Because I feel like this break card gives me a little bit more context, and I could definitely see it being stronger because it can like. They can't play any items. I'm gonna say banned because of this break card giving me more.
Oh my god, Sol, you took the bait. Oh, you took the bait. The card is not banned. Trevenant is not banned.
What a great bait. Oh no.
You took the bait. I was like, okay, he's on track. Let's see if he takes the bait. And he did take the bait.
Dude.
I want to tell you, by the way, this Trevenant break was released in Breakpoint, in XY Breakpoints, which is like like about 2 years after this regular Trevenant was released. They are in standard in like about the same time. This was actually a really good card, because being able to item lock your opponents. Basically, about 40% of a Pokemon deck is items. I think that's true nowadays. Back then, it's like either slightly less or slightly more. It's not changed very much, but not being able to play 40% of your deck is a really big deal. And the fact that you can only play around that by gusting something else to the bench, like if they have no other Pokemon in play than Trevenant, then there's no option for that. You need like some ability negation or something. And the reason why this archetype is actually still really strong, or was really strong when it was in standard, because of this card, Wally. Give it that a read.
Well, that evolves from one of your Pokemon and put that into this card as well. Yeah, so that makes
So you can get a turn 1 Trevenant before your opponent can actually do anything. And this interaction caused Wally to be banned, not Trevenant.
Dude, that's insane.
Yes. Well, honestly, I would say there were several other decks that were really broken with Wally. But Wally, basically the main reason Wally was banned because of this Trevenant Break deck. Trevenant, honestly, after Wally was banned, was still doing pretty great in Standard. In Expanded, not really so much, because there's not really any other way to scam an evolution on turn 1, basically. So this was like a solid, I would say like top 5 deck in Standard from the moment Trevenant Break was released. Before then, it wasn't really anything. It was like kind of mid-tier. And Wally actually got unbanned after the Sword and Shield supporter rule change, because back in these days, in the X and Y days, and also in the Sun and Moon days, you could play a supporter on your first turn going first, which is the reason why you can like item lock without your opponent doing anything. But in Sword and Shield, they changed that so that you can't do that on your first turn going first, playing supporters. So Wally was unbanned after that.
So now Wally, even though it says it can be played on first turn, it can't.
Well, it can be played on the first turn going second.
Yeah, but it can't be played on your first turn going first.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
So Wally is now no longer banned and expanded because of that rule change, but bro, this card was hella broken before that rule change.
You keep getting me. At this point.
Hey, listen, you're definitely getting some, don't worry. You're definitely getting some. The more cards you see, the more of a context you're getting in your brain. I'm gonna show you another XY card, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, honestly, the XY era was technically the craziest. After that, they kind of learned their way with balancing, in my opinion. Not really entirely, but... Okay, here you go.
Yeah, let's see it.
It's another Stadium cards.
Forest of Giant Plants.
This was released in Ancient Origins, which is the expansion after Roaring Skies from Skyfield.
Wait, so does Phantom count as a grass type?
Wait, what do you mean? Phantom?
Each player's grass Pokemon can evolve during his or her first turn.
Or the turn he or she plays those Pokemon.
Yeah. So if Phantom is a grass.
Yes, correct.
So Phantom is a grass. Okay.
Well, there is a grass type Phantom, there is a Psychic type Phantom in this format.
Both can evolve into this?
No, the Psychic type one cannot. Because only the grass Pokemon can evolve during his or her turn going first.
No, I mean like without the stadium.
No, without the stadium you can't do anything, of course. With evolution cheating. What? The reason...
No.
Wait, are you confused on something, or am I confused on something?
I'm talking general term.
Yes.
Can a grass type Phantom evolve into a Psychic type?
Yeah, totally. Don't worry. That's what you meant. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Big thinking. I just told you about evolution cheating. Am I trying to metagame?
Is this
Forest of Giant Plants is the next card, sorry. It's the next card for you to evaluate. That's why I said it was released the expansion after Roaring Skies. 2015 card, Forest of Giant Plants. Is this a card banned or not?
I think it's banned.
You think it's banned? For similar reasons as you thought beforehand, or is there anything else coming into mind?
Now I'm thinking about the rule structure. As you said, like evolution cheating. If Wally can get banned for it, I think not necessarily. It has to be like what conceptually breaks the game. There's a reason you can't evolve things on turn 1. And if this card lets you do that, and you have a grass type deck that's pretty strong, be warping, so I'm gonna say.
You're gonna say banned. Okay. I'll tell you the entire story because it's, well, not necessarily a lengthy one, but a little bit complicated one. So,
Okay.
So before, like even before this expansion came out, right before this expansion came out, Shift Tree was banned because of the interaction it has with Forest of Giant Plants, and they had a, like basically TPCI where it was like, okay, we're not gonna let people do this in standard, we're gonna ban Shift Tree for this. So just have a look.
And to evolve one of your Pokemon if it had to choose one of your opponent's Pokemon. Yeah.
Yeah, and the reason this was a problem card is because there was like a grass type Seedot on Nuzleaf, and you had options to de-evolve this Pokemon with Devolution Spray and Super Scoop Up, so that you could trigger this ability more than once. Meaning that you could donk someone if they had like 2 or 3 Pokemon in play even.
Oh dang. That's kind of cool.
And you might think like, okay, you need like a lot of cards for this to work, but like I said, there's a lot of insane draw, especially in Expanded, but back then in Standard as well. So this interaction got Shift Tree banned before Forest of Giant Plants was legal. So this interaction never happened, luckily. But in 2017, 2 years later, they reversed this Shift Tree nerf and banned Forest of Giant Plants instead.
Yes!
Because it enabled... It was not necessarily because of one egregious combo that was being abused by this. It was several. It's like at least 5. And I tried to find online what kind of archetypes people were cooking up with this, because it got banned right before what was it called? The third Sun and Moon set from 2017, Burning something. I don't really recall the name. But there were about to be released 2 like Final Evolution grass Pokemon that were really gonna be really broken, with specifically Forest of Giant Plants. I'll show them to you now.
Arena EX.
No, it's not a Arena card.
Imagine if I called that though. Glizzy Paw. First impression. On the bench, became your active. 90 more damage, that's pretty good. Armor press during your opponent.
The other attacks are not really that relevant. It's the fact that you can turn turn 1 going second, get the first impression damage. That's like the most broken part about Golisopod. These 2 cards were never legal together with Forest of Giant Plants, by the way. Forest of Giant Plants was banned before this expansion came out, basically. And then also you have Vileplume with Disgusting Pollen, which says that if that Pokemon is your active Pokemon, opponent's basic Pokemon can't attack, which is disgusting. But Forest of Giant Plants was already enabling several other disgusting Stage 1 or Stage 2 Pokemon that I'll send over to you now.
Nice.
Several others. Give them a quick read, or a thorough read. I don't really care. We have the time.
What's a GX? So
a GX is basically like a Pokemon V or EX. It's a Pokemon that has... it's actually kind of identical to a V-Star Pokemon in the sense that it's kind of a combination of V-Star and EX, in the sense that for example, a regular Wimpod can evolve into a Golisopod GX, but that will give up 2 prize cards rather than 1. But every GX Pokemon also has a GX move or ability that they can use once per game, like V-Star powers. But mostly the Irritating Pollen Vileplume was the one that was being used most in Expanded and Standard. But yeah, imagine Forest of Giant Plants being legal for 2 entire years. That's actually like the crazy fact. The fact that it got not neared. That's not the word. The fact that it got banned, only then, not right away or something.
Yeah, it's
kind of nuts.
2 years to realize how broken it was. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of crazy. Anyway, you have 1 right now. Let's go. 1 out of 4.
Let's go. I hit my mark.
Okay, I've been talking to you about this mad consistent draw about Expanded the entire time, right? So I think it's time for me to show you what that mad consistent draw engine is. And this is going to be your 5th card to evaluate. Your 5th card. So take a look at this one.
This is a basic. That's the first thing that's basic.
Shaman EX. Also released in Roaring Skies, by the way. Crazy expansion. Make sure you read aloud to the class.
When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto the bench, you may draw cards until you have 6 cards. How other ways that.
View restart is 3,
Yeah.
but you can use it whenever in the turn.
But this is when it comes.
When you play it onto the bench. And I've already given you a hint with like Super Scoop Up that I showed you on the previous card. So what are your first thoughts seeing this?
Let me read Super Scoop.
Take your time.
Seems very strong, which makes me believe you want me to say it. I'm gonna say not.
You're gonna say not banned.
I'm gonna say not banned because it's so strong, like 6 card draw.
Yeah.
It's so strong, and you say there's a lot of draw, which makes me believe it's not.
Yeah, so indeed, Shaman EX was basically the default draw engine for most of the decks in Standard and also most of the decks in Expanded. Because of Super Scoop Up, the combination you can do with that, and also AZ, showing you the card right now, which is a supporter that just puts one of your Pokemon in your hand. It's basically Professor Toro's Scenario, if you know that card from Standard. It's the same card.
Yeah.
So this allows you to just re-trigger setup every time. And once again, Sky Return, you can charge that for 1 colorless energy. 1 DC double colorless energy.
Yeah.
So just do a quick 30 and just get the DC and your Shaman back to your hand. So this is a really, really consistent draw engine. Shaman EX definitely got several other cards banned. Like, for example, Wally, and Lysander's trump cards. Those cards have problems all by themselves, of course, but Shaman EX pushed them to the next level for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Same for Forest of Giant Plants, by the way. Forest of Giant Plants would definitely not be near as consistent with its deck plans without this Shaman EX draw engine at all. So this card was hopping around in Expanded for a really long time, even until it rotated, and even after rotation, Bro's hopping around in Standard. Then the Sword and Shield set Rebel Clash came around and released this card, Scoop Up Net. I'm gonna have to let you read that. It's an item card.
Put one of your Pokemon that isn't the or Pokemon into your hand. Ooh.
Yes. So notably, this doesn't say a Pokemon that doesn't have a rule box. It says a Pokemon that isn't a Pokemon V or GX. But since Shaman is an EX Pokemon, it doesn't apply to Shaman, so you can just use this item card to guaranteed pick up the Shaman again to re-trigger setup. And this was the kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, and this got Shaman EX banned in Expanded in 2020, by the way. This is 5 years after the card has been released. Absolutely insanity. It got banned about 2 weeks after Scoop Up Net was released. Just give you a time frame of reference.
Basically does what Sky Return does for no energy. And
yeah, it's like a Super Scoop Up, but you don't need to coin flip. Yeah, which is absolutely gross. Scoop Up Net in itself is also a problem card because it doesn't state that it can't pick up Rulebox Pokemon, just not via an EGX Pokemon. And Scoop Up Net did get banned last year from Expanded due to a first turn win deck. You can do a combo with Iron Valiant EX. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the card, but the card is in Standard right now.
Yeah, Iron Valiant.
Yeah, I'll just send it for your information, but it has an ability that if it switches into the active, you can spread 20 damage to something. You could get a pretty consistent first turn win with this donk. If they didn't have too much HP on their Pokemon, I want to say 120 was the upper limit you can reach with the deck technically.
Yeah.
So that's the reason that they've actually banned Scoop Up Net, not necessarily because of Shaman, of course, because Shaman was already banned in Expanded. So Scoop Up Net also got banned in Expanded. But yes, Shaman EX is banned 5 years after release, so you didn't get this one right. I'm sorry.
So what I get from this is Scoop Up Net should have been banned. Shaman should have still been allowed in Souls right all along.
No. Shaman EX should have been banned the moment it was released.
No.
Yes, it should have been. Or at least maybe a few years after, around the same time as Forest of Giant Plants. But this card is absolutely crazy. It has run rampant. I don't even want to look right now, but in your off time, or me when editing this, future Noah, please show what the cost was of Shaman EX, just buying a Shaman EX on Card Market or TCG Player, how much dollars it would cost. It was I think it was upwards of $300 for one copy. It's absolutely nuts. This card was literally playable in 99% of Standard and Expanded decks. Shaming X was the nuts, basically. Alright, are you ready for your 6th card, Soul?
I am.
Alright. Well, here comes the 6 cards. It's gonna be another item locking card, just like Trevenant, and I'm gonna show it to you right now.
Seismitoad, Quaking Punch. Your opponent can't play any item cards from his or her during his or her next turn. So I've seen this been played.
You've seen this being played? Wait, you recognize it?
Recognize the art.
I see. Interesting. This card came out in 2014, by the way. Slightly after, like 2 expansions after Trevenant came out in Furious Fists.
So it does have a lot of time on it.
Yeah, this card came out 10 years ago. I'm hearing a whole lot of nothing on your side. What's going on in your brain?
Dude, the mind gears are working on it.
Yeah, take your time.
I've seen this played. I'm gonna say not.
You're gonna say not bad specifically because you've seen it played, or is there any other reason that you're thinking this is not banned?
I've seen this played.
In an expanded tournament, or just like in standard back in the day?
No clue.
No clue.
I've seen it get played. It's probably not that broken. And I get double colorless is a thing, but
yeah,
still, I mean, what Toad in
Alright.
active.
Locking in, not banned.
Price cards on.
Locking in, not banned. Are you ready for the story? Because this card is a banger. Like, I think you can see that it is a really strong card. For 1 DCE, you can just easily item lock 40%. So that's like basically, again, about around 40% of a deck for just basically 1 energy attachment. They still do some damage with it. This card was very often paired with Zoroark GX, which you've already seen before. Or with specifically Garbotoxin Garbodor, which I'll share with you right now. Very iconic card, you might have seen it before.
Garbotox. This Pokemon has a tool card attached to it. Each Pokemon in play, in each player's hand, and has no abilities. Okay, it's kind of like a neutralizing gas.
Yeah, so basically this combo just doesn't allow your opponent to use abilities and items, which was usually backbreaking for a lot of meta decks back in Standard. These are I'm showing you, by the way, the original Garbotoxin Garbodor. It did get reprinted in the XY era. This is the black-white era version you're seeing right now. So these cards were in Standard basically for the entirety of Seismitoad EX's Standard rotation. And the fact that like this does 30 damage with Quaking Punch, of course, as you can see, but this damage is very easily boostable by several other cards that I'm going to share with you right now that were very commonly played in Seismitoad EX decks, with the combination of Hypnotoxic, Laser, Fervent, City, Gym, and Muscle Bands. Okay, go ahead and give those a read.
Poison. Your opponent's active Pokemon is not poisoned. It heads close to sleep. Yeah.
So just as a reminder, poison is 10 damage between turns.
Yeah. But 2 more damage counter on poison. Okay.
Yeah, so that increases it to 30. And then Muscle Band, if it was an active Pokemon, sorry, I'm thinking of a different card. I think of Choice Band, which was damage boost to EX Pokemon only. No. With Muscle Band, in the combination with Muscle Band and Hypnotoxic Laser and Verbank City Gym, you change the 30 damage to like an 80 damage, which at the time basically basically 2 shots a huge portion of all playable Pokemon in Standard and Expanded at the time. This is an insanely good archetype that has won like multiple regionals, internationals, and I think worlds even like once or twice when it was in Standards. And the reason for that is once again because Shaman EX's draw engine was so consistent, allowing you to find all these cards every time. But this card was not overpowered or backbreaking enough to warrant a ban for Expanded. But this card is indeed not banned. You can still play it to this day in Expanded. Still a pretty good card in Expanded, but not necessarily anything meta warping. And it's still, don't get me wrong, it's still an insanely good card, but you can do a lot of better things in Expanded.
Yeah.
You got another one, let's go.
Let's go, dude.
Rock's still running. Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Are you ready for the next one? Are you riding this high?
Yeah, this is 7th right now, right?
Yeah, I'm going to show you your 7th cards. This is the first card you'll be seeing that has an alternate win condition.
Ooh,
so here you go. This card was released in Lost Thunder, which is a Sun and Moon expansion, 2019.
Damage. All caps. once during your turn before you attack. If this Pokemon is in your active, if this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, and if there are 66 or more damage counters on your bench Pokemon, you may use this ability. If you do, you win the game. Banned.
So, that's 660 damage in total across all your Pokemon. Do you think this card is banned?
Yes.
Yes.
Ban.
You sound very confident. You know how much 666 damage is, right?
Yes. Banned. It is banned. You can't convince me otherwise. Even if you say it's not banned, it is banned.
Okay.
I think there's some shit like...
Let me paint you the picture, okay? Let me paint you the picture.
Yeah.
So when this was released in 2019, of course, Shaman EX is not in standard anymore. You don't have a crazy consistent draw engine, only like pretty good ones. So in standard, this saw like zero play whatsoever, zero play. But expanded still had the Shaman EX draw engine.
Yeah.
So there was indeed a crazy combo you can do. I'm not going to tell you if the combo was consistent enough, but I'm going to show you how the combo works card for card, okay?
Okay.
Because there was a specific combo, a specific infinite combo you could do with this to achieve this. So first and foremost, the start...
I swear it's like damage counter and cannot be fainted. I swear it's something like that.
So
Magma's secret base.
you would start the combo by playing this stadium, which is basically a Gape Jawbog.
Pokemon from his or her on that Pokemon. Okay, well, from his or her onto his... Yeah,
so it's basically like Gape Jawbog, but not for Team Magma Pokemon. The second step of the combo is you would play this Klefki down.
Klefki, Wonderlock. I assume it's not Fairy Wind. Once during your turn before you attack, if there's a whole fucking paragraph.
Yeah, sorry, this is Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Average Yu-Gi-Oh card.
Yeah.
It's the same reaction my brother had to me when I read him what Guard Swap does. He's like, what? It has more than one line of text. It's a Pokemon move. If this Pokemon is on your bench, you may discard all cards attached to this Pokemon and attach it to one of your Pokemon as a Pokemon tool card. And prevent any damage done to the Pokemon this card is attached to by attacks from your opponent's Mega Evolution Pokemon. If this card is attached to a Pokemon, discard this card. Your Pokemon. Turn.
Yeah, so Klefki itself already saw like slight play in like the Mega Rayquaza archetype I showed you earlier. This came out like I think slightly before. No, this came out in 2016, so like a few expansions after, like Mega Ray, the Mega Ray expansion. I'm just gonna call it that, Roaring Skies. And it saw play in Garbotoxin Garbodor decks, where you can just like attach this to your Garbodor. Your opponent can't use any abilities, and then it gets discarded at the end of your opponent's turn, and you can use your abilities. Again, so it's basically like a one-sided ability log for that. But the reason we played Klefki in this deck is... okay, so it's because we also have this guy as part of the combo. I'm just gonna post that right now. Feel free to read the ability on this Unicolus.
Damage swap. As often as you like during your turn. Hey, here we go. You may move one damage counter from one of your Pokemon to another one. So what you would do is basically you would stack a bunch of damage counters, then you would swap it to Klefki. Right?
So what you would do is you would bench Klefki, take the 20 damage on Klefki, and then damage swap those to the cards that I just sent to you, the Magikarp and Wailord GX. This is basically just a Pokemon with the highest HP. Basically the highest HP Pokemon in the format. That's a basic.
Didn't this tag team win like a huge tournament?
I don't know actually. It might have. It was like an alright card.
Might have just been regular Wailord, to be honest.
I don't remember this specific card winning any big tournaments, but I might be wrong on that. I don't have a eidetic memory of the entire history of Pokemon TCG, of course. So honestly, most of the text on this card does not matter. The only thing that matters is that it has 300 HP on a basic Pokemon. So you would play down 2 of these, and of course your Klefki. You would move the damage off of Klefki, and then attach it to one of your Pokemon, and then what you would do after it was attached to one of your Pokemon is you would use this Weavile's ability.
As often as you like during your turn, you may put a Pokemon tool card attached to one of your Pokemon into your hand. Yes, you put the Klefki back in your hand.
Yeah, exactly. So you put down the Klefki, get 20 on the Klefki, move it off to a Wailord, attach the Klefki to something, and then use Tear Away on it to return it back to your hand, and then play the Klefki again. Basically do that like a lot of times until you have built up enough damage on your Magikarp and Wailord GXs, and then like a few of your other Pokemon.
So you can act unknown ability.
Yeah, and then you can like swap Unknown to the X spot with like a switch card. Once again, this combo was very, like honestly, not very consistent. I want to say it was like a 40% turn 2 combo, something like that, but that's with the Shaman EX engine. But this card still got banned before Shaman EX did. Unknown Damage was banned before Shaman EX did.
Yes, sir. We got another one.
In the first international expanded format, in the first international expanded tournament that this card was legal, there were only like 2 placements. There were 2 guys that played the Unknown Damage second turn Gale, basically is what they called it. And they placed like 68th and 79th. So that's not like insanely good, but that was like a 400 plus player tournament. So that still should give you a picture of like, okay, only a few people were playing this, but you can still basically get like to top 12%, to top 10% of players. So TPCI still took action and promptly banned Unknown Damage.
That's fair. I would do the same thing. Ban. Broken.
Yeah. And just for fun, 2 other unknowns were also released in the same expansion. I'm not gonna count your points on any of these. I'm not really keeping track, honestly, but there were 2 unknowns with similar abilities. I'll just give you a quick thought on if they're banned or not. But they have similar ability with like, if this is in the active and you do meet this condition, you win the game.
Once during your turn, if this one is 35 or more cards in hand. Oh, is there like a card that's like have no maximum hand size?
There's no maximum hand size in Pokemon. There's none.
I think both of these are banned.
You think? Hold on. Read both of them first. So you think Unknown Hand is banned? That's correct. Read the other one now.
Yeah, but even missing if you're playing it in the Lost Zone, 12 is not a lot.
But read what it says. If your opponent has 12 or more supporter cards in the Lost Zone.
Oh, if your opponent, well, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, some decks don't even play 12 supporters, so Unknown Missing is still legal to this day.
I see.
Yeah, Unknown Missing is like terrible. Like I don't think I've ever I've seen a lot of expanded games in my life. I don't think I've ever seen Unknown Missing's ability trigger, like ever. Like no matter how many people kept trying it, I've literally never seen it work.
Yeah, I thought it was just 12 cards in the Lost.
No. It's 12 or more supporter cards from your opponents in Lost Zone, which is honestly a way steeper one than having 35 cards in hand or having 660 damage in total. Okay, but you got this one right. Hell yeah. Still don't know why they thought that was a good idea to print Unknown Damage in hands, but hey. I'm not gonna specifically talk about what cards enabled Unknown Hands to be banned, because there are a few cards in there that are banned themselves as well, and I might talk about them in like maybe a future video. So yeah, let's move on to card number 8, shall we?
Let's do it.
Card number 8. I'm gonna give you it in like 2 parts. It's basically 2 different cards, but I want to hear your opinion on like both stages of it. So it's like a 2-card combo basically, but I want to show you one part of the combo first. Right here. Here it is, a supporter card.
Max's Hidden Ball Trick. Ew.
I knew you were gonna say this. I knew you were gonna say something sus like that.
This card only when it's the last card in your hand. Put a fighting type Pokemon from your discard pile onto your bench, then draw 5 cards.
Notice how it doesn't say a basic fighting type Pokemon, so this can be any fighting type Pokemon, stage 1 or stage 2 as well.
Ooh, okay. Well, that makes it a lot.
But it has to be only the last card in your hand.
That's true. Yeah. And there was something else to this as well, or what?
Yeah, I just want to hear your thoughts on this card on its own, if you think it's banned or not. Before we move on to like the second part of this.
Yeah, it's banned.
You think this card is banned? Okay, I'm going to show you the card that this was usually paired with in Expanded, because this is a card from Black and White, Noble Victories.
Each player can't play any Pokemon from his or her hand to evolve his. Yeah, so you just evolve yours, or just, you don't even evolve. You just put out evolve mons, and they can't evolve theirs.
But do you think this combo is consistent enough to be worth playing?
Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
I'm hearing a resounding hell yeah. Okay, I'm gonna give you one more piece of context right here. So that you know just how awful it was to actually gather the fossils. That you can't get this into play regularly. You have to use Max's Hidden Ball Trick basically to use this. Because the fossil mechanic back then was awful, and I'm happy it's just a regular evolution requirement this time.
Look at the bottom 7 cards of your deck. You may reveal an Archon you find there and put it onto your bench. Oh. Okay.
Yeah, so you have to specifically hit the Archon with your Plume Fossil. Like, if you have it in hand, you can't play the Archon.
Except if you max his Hidden Ball Trick.
Except if you max his Hidden Ball Trick, the Archeops, yeah. I just wanted to illustrate that there's, like, it's very unlikely that you put in Archeops in play regularly.
That's fair. I see.
Yeah. So,
I don't think it's banned.
You still think it's banned? Do you think Maxi's Hidden Ball Trick is banned, or Archeops, or both?
No,
I'm only going to count you on the Hidden Ball Trick because that's the first card I showed, but...
I think the Hidden Ball Trick.
Okay. So, let me tell you a story about Maxi's Hidden Ball Trick in Standard, because it was actually a pretty playable card in Standard. Because, of course, the Shaman EX engine exists, like we've talked about already. But also, the fighting type they would abuse in Standard was this particular Gallade, which I'm sending over now.
Premonition. Once during your turn before you attack, you may look at the top 5 cards of your deck and put them back on top in order.
And it has Sensitive Blades for a DCE, which is basically 130 damage.
If you played a supporter card from your hand during this turn. Ooh.
Yeah, so this card saw play. It was, I would say this is like, was probably like a top 5 archetype back in the day in Standard. These cards were, like, Max's Hidden Ball Trick got released in Primal Clash in 2015. Which was like beginning of 2015, and like Gallade got released in Breakthrough, which is like end of 2015. But yeah, this was a very playable archetype in Standard.
But something tells me there's a fighting type to abuse here, which is expanded only.
I showed you the fighting type, the most relevant fighting type at least, which is Archeops already.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but the question is, was it consistent enough in Expanded? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. Maxi's Hidden Ball Trick is banned in Expanded because it is because of 2 very specific cards or like one of these. Battle Compressor was in Standards when it was. So what you would do with Battle Compressor, it says it's an item card that you can search your deck for 3 cards and discard them. So what you would do is you discard Maxi's Hidden Ball Trick, and then get your hand down to like 1 VS Seeker, and then VS Seeker your Hidden Ball Trick out of the discard pile. So you have more access to it, basically, as if you run the card 6 times in your deck, or 8 times rather than 4 times, which made it really consistent. And then Jirachi EX, which is from Expanded, basically, this card was not ever legal with Max's Hidden Ball Trick, but it allows you to grab a supporter pretty easily just upon play, so you can just grab Max's Hidden Ball Trick easily. Those are like the main 2 ways to basically find Max's Hidden Ball Trick pretty consistently. Like, so consistently down to the fact that some decks didn't even run 4 copies of Max's Hidden Ball Trick.
Right. I kind of like the Hypno Strike on this Jirachi as well, because it's like...
Yeah, Jirachi X is a pretty solid card, yeah.
You can put your opponent to sleep, and then it has 1 retreat.
Yeah, the biggest downside of Jirachi X is that it has 90 HP.
Yeah.
Which is a really, really... Like, I would say Jirachi EX is like an alright card in Expanded. It's like, meh. It's like okay. So, the story about Archeops. Archeops saw absolutely 0 play from its release until the release of Max's Hidden Ball Trick. Because now that you can actually consistently get this Archeops in play, Archeops was banned. Not Hidden Ball Trick. Archeops was banned promptly because it was not fun. You would just honestly make this deck and pair it with big basic Pokemon, and your opponent would cry if they had like any sort of evolution in their deck.
Yeah.
And a few years later, so that's, I want to say 2019 or 2018, one of the 2, Max's Hidden Ball Trick got banned as well, because not necessarily of Archeops, because Archeops was already banned, of course. But because of 2 fossils that were upcoming in the Team-Up expansion in Sun and Moon 2019. It was like the first expansion of 2019, if I recall correctly, but they were about to release these 2 fossil Pokemon, fighting-type fossil Pokemon, that would honestly break Expanded if they were legal together with Max's Hidden Ball Trick.
Oh.
So as you can see, Kabutops has the ability that if it's your active, your opponent can't play supporter cards. And Amistar's ability is that if you have fewer Pokemon in play than your opponent, they can't play item cards. You could have these effects stacking, because one of them requires Active Spot and the other does not. So they promptly banned Maxie's Hidden Ball Trick right before Team Up was released. And Archeops did not get unbanned when Maxie's Hidden Ball Trick got banned. Because Archeops was, honestly, in the meantime, a different card was released that would make Archeops also fairly consistent to be put in play, which is Ditto Prism Star.
Right.
I'll give you that a read. This is from Lost Thunder, same expansion as the Unknown Damage.
Once during your turn before you attack, you may put any Stage 1 card from your hand onto this Pokemon to evolve it. You can't use this ability during your first turn or turn.
Yeah.
Pokemon was put into play. Yes, you just get a copy.
So what it does is basically, like, if this has been in play for a turn, you can just search your deck for any Stage 1 Pokemon and put it onto there. Or not search your deck, sorry, like from your hand. So you can notice that Archeops is a Stage 1 Pokemon and not a Stage 2 Pokemon like modern fossils are. So, yeah, Ditto Prism Star absolutely would break Archeops if it was legal in Expanded, so they kept Archeops on the banned list.
Fair enough.
Yeah, there was also a similar card to Maxie's Hidden Ball Trick. I'm not going to show it to you. It's called Archie's Ace in the Hole, which is the same effect but for a Water-type Pokemon, and that actually won Worlds in that year. Because they were able to combo that with Deluge Blastoise, which is a similar ability to what Baxcalibur has these days. With Super Bolt.
Right. Yeah.
They would just grab that Blastoise and it had like a Hydro Pump style effect where it would do more damage the more energy it had on it. So that's what won Worlds that year, or got second. I don't quite remember. But yeah, these cards were actually pretty consistent thanks to the Shaymin EX. And even without Shaymin EX, I think these cards would still be decently consistent, because there's a lot of good discard effects these days. Like Ultra Ball, for example. Ultra Ball hasn't been around forever either, so... Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yeah, you got another one right, hell yeah.
Dude, I'm
You're on a comeback. I think you got like 3 or 4 right at this point. I think 3?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so you can still go like 50%. So let's go for that. Let's go for that, okay? So I'm going to show you your 9th card. You might have seen this card before, or heard of this card before.
There we go. Arceus and Dialga and Palkia GX. Ultimate Ray. Search your deck for up to 3 basic energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like, then shuffle your deck.
And does 150 damage. This is a basic Pokemon, by the way. A basic Pokemon that gives up 3 prize cards, because it's a tag team card.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's 3 mana.
Yeah, exactly.
Altered Creation GX Metal Energy Plus.
Well, Dialga, but just read the attack. Yeah, just read the attack.
For the rest of the game, your Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's active. If this Pokemon has at least 1 extra water energy attached to it, in addition to this attack's cost.
That's what a plus. Yeah.
When your opponent's active Pokemon is knocked out by damage from those attacks, take 1 more. This is bad. This is 100%.
You're saying this is bad. Like plus 30 damage, 1 extra prize card if you have a metal and a water.
Yeah.
You're saying this is banned? Okay. Yeah. Okay, interesting. I'm going to share with you what this did in Standard first and foremost, because in Standard this was not banned. I'm going to tell you that straight up front. But that's not what we're here for. We're here for Expanded. But I'm going to show you first what this card did in Expanded. By sharing you this 3-card combo, basically. Because it was most often paired with Zacian V. For a very good reason. Zacian V's damage output was absolutely incredible for the time. Like 230 damage on a basic Pokemon for 3 energy. Especially with Metal Saucer in the format, which is basically a dark patch for metal energy. Bro, Zacian V went so hard even without ADP.
Search your deck for a Pokemon GX, reveal it, and put it into your hand. So that's how you get the Arceus.
Yeah.
Metal Saucer, attach a metal energy card from your discard pile to one of your bench. You can just put this on the bench and attach it.
Well, not to the ADP, because it's a Dragon type Pokemon, but to the Zacian V, which is the 3rd card I sent.
But you can't attach it to ADP?
Because it's a Dragon type Pokemon. It has to be to a Metal type Pokemon.
Oh, okay, wait, hold on. Brave Blade, during your next turn, this Pokemon attack, Intrepid or once during your turn. You may look at the top 3 cards of your deck and attach any number of metal energy cards you find for this Pokemon to the cards in your hand. Use this ability or yeah, so that's a good way to
so Zacian V, this was basically a tier 1 deck. Basically like the best deck in the format for like about half a year. And in Expanded, you even had the option of running double Dragon Energy. I should just show it to you.
Oh yeah. This Pokemon provides every type of energy. Yeah, that's what you need.
Yeah, so just after one double dragon energy, you just need to attach that one, and you can do Alter Creation for bonus effect. Yeah, exactly. And usually these meta decks would take attack like 2 or 3 times, and then game was over because they took all their prize cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is pretty consistent in in Standard. This was absolutely nuts, and even in Expanded, this was pretty consistent because of the double dragon energy. But this card is not banned in Expanded.
Really?
This card is not banned in Expanded. I might see it banned in Expanded in the future, but this card is currently not banned in Expanded. Expanded? This card is not banned in Expanded mostly because Pokemon Ranger exists. I'm gonna have to let you read that card.
Remove all effective attacks on each.
So this basically nullifies Alter Creation.
Yeah.
This is also a card that's in Expanded. It's from X and Y era, if you can recognize the art of the Rangers. So of course, this is like a 1-card tech card for specifically against ADP, but you don't want to run this in like every deck because you want your deck to be more consistent as well. But the fact that this was an option to tech in against ADP made ADP a whole lot less oppressive in Expanded. So I would say honestly, if Pokemon Ranger did not exist, ADP might have been banned in Expanded. But as it stands right now, to this day, ADP is legal in Expanded.
And in the future, it will be banned. So whenever you're watching this video in half a year, when Noah gets it out, it will be banned. I like to hear.
No, sorry, you didn't get this one right. Let's see if you can get 4 points. I think this is probably going to be like the weirdest card I'm going to show you today, but it's going to be a very fun one to end on. It's a very weird one, a very intricate one. Here you go. Your 10th card is Island Challenge Amulet. It's a tool card. Right.
The Pokemon GX or Pokemon EX, this card is attached to gets minus 100 HP. And when it is knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, that player takes one prize card. And that's an item you can run for.
Well, it's a tool card, basically.
You can just deny a prize card.
You can deny prize card, yeah. It's kind of like Legacy Energy, but worse, but you can run more than one. I don't know if you know what Legacy Energy does. That's currently in Standard. It's an A-spec.
I know how easy it is to play items. I would say this got me.
Yeah, okay. Do you think the minus 100 HP is like relevant to this card, or do you think...
Some of them, yeah, for some of them. Because a lot of, like, this came out in Gen 7, so I guess Pokemon HPs are getting kind of baller. And minus 100 HP is quite a lot. But it has to be knocked out by an opponent's attack, not this card. Which is fair. But I think just because items are so easy to find, recycle, use, you can basically, in one prize card, it's like either they can get a KO that doesn't mean anything, or you can stall the game out when you have like one prize card left and you can steal games. I think it's quite strong.
Right.
Because if it was just one of these, it would have been totally fine. Both of them, minus 100 HP and one fewer prize card for just an item, and you can play as many of them as you want.
Yeah.
Pretty strong.
Yeah. So as you can see in the bottom left corner, this card got released in the same expansion that ADP did, which we just discussed. And the first expanded tournament in like over a year was about to happen like a few months after this expansion got released, Cosmic Eclipse. Cosmic Eclipse, by the way, absolutely nutty set. Like the set is insanely good.
Oh.
So people were planning their ADP decks with like double dragon energy, and they were like, okay, I'm gonna steamroll this tournament with my cool new ADP deck, and no one's gonna see it coming. A lot of people were thinking that. I think ADP had like 70% play rate in that tournament, but ADP only got 1 out of the top 8 spots in this expanded tournament.
Which is still good.
Which is still pretty solid, don't get me wrong. But the deck that features Island Challenge Amulet, I'm going to show you a very crazy combo. This got 5 out of the top 8 results. 5 out of the top 8 results.
5 out of the top.
Yeah, this was like a 450 player tournament and like about 30 people were playing this deck. So like not even that big percentage. It was like about 2%, about 4% were playing this deck. This specific combo deck. 5 out of the top 8 people played this specific absurd disruption deck that I'm about to show you right now. I'm just going to say this card is banned. Several cards that I'm going to show you in this current combo are also banned. I just want to sketch this absolutely insane combo because this is like can be a little bit hard to comprehend, but it's because it has so many moving pieces. But this was still when Shaman EX was legal. And like I want to say like a few months after this tournament, Shaman EX also got banned. Probably has something to do with this insane fucking deck, but it was not necessarily the direct counter for this. So I'm gonna sketch the combo for you right now.
Okay.
So I'm gonna send a lot of cards over the course of the next few minutes, by the way. So first and foremost, what you would do is you would use either Ultra Ball or Mysterious Treasures to look for a very specific Pokemon in your deck. Just give a read. I think you know what Ultra Ball does, but Mysterious Treasures might be new for you.
Yeah, Ultra Ball I know what does. That's fine. You find specific mon. Discard a card from your hand. If you do, search for the deck for a Psychic or Dragon.
It's basically like Ultra Ball, you discard 1 less, but you can only look for Psychic or Dragon Pokemon. So what you would do...
Probably Dragon.
No, it's a Psychic type. So you would look for Hoopa EX.
When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, you may search the deck for up to 3 Pokemon EX, except for Hoopa EX. Reveal them and put them into your hand. Okay.
Yeah, so this way you can actually look for like Shaman EX or Jirachi EX. Jirachi EX is the more relevant one in this combo. Do you remember what Jirachi EX still does? Like it grabs a supporter from your deck. 90 HP EX Pokemon. If you attach the Island Challenge Amulet then to Jirachi, it dies.
Yeah.
And it gives your opponent 1 prize card. Or 2, sorry, it still gives 2 prize cards because it wasn't knocked out by damage from an attack. So you basically give your opponent 2 prize cards. And then you would play another Jirachi EX, another Island Challenge Amulet to give your opponent 2 more prize cards, so they have 2 left. And then what you would use is this specific Duststone and Miss Magius combo to give your opponent another prize card.
Which is search your deck for a Miss Magius, Honest Crochet, or Aegis, including the deck. Revolves one play and put love it. Then Miss Magius, regular, mysterious message. Once during your turn before you attack, you may draw its cards 7 in your hand if you do any cards to play this. And then you get 7 cards.
So you could get like all of this on turn 1 basically, because of Duststone you can skip the evolution on turn 1, but only for these specific Pokemon. But with 2 Jirachis popped and the Miss Magius, your opponent's now at 1 prize card.
Why would you give your opponents 5 prize cards? That's the big...
Yes, that's the big one here. I'm going to show you the 3-card combo, why you would put your opponent specifically on
probably
3 prize cards. Oh, they're not sent in the correct order, so read Lieutenant Surge's strategy first.
You can play this card only if you have more prize cards remaining than your opponent, which you do. During this turn, you can place 3 supporter cards, including this one.
So you basically get to play 2. So then you would play N and then Mars afterwards.
So let's read N. Each player shuffles his or her hand into her deck, and each player draws a card for each of his or her remaining prize cards, so they would only draw 1 card.
Yeah, it's basically like Iono, but doesn't go to the bottom. So they would draw 1 card, and they would play Mars.
Draw 2 cards. If you do, discard a random card from her opponent. You discard the last card that you drew.
Yes, so they now are left with no hand. And then you would use this final card to basically seal the nail in the coffin. Chip Chip Ice Axe.
Look at the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. Choose one of them. Your opponent shuffles the card in their deck. Put the card you chose on top of their deck.
So you would basically guarantee that they would have a terrible top deck by playing Chip Chip Ice Axe. This is basically almost the entire combo. I'm not going to go into depth but there is a way to discard with Garchomp and Giratina GX tag team. There was a way to discard a Pokemon in play. So you would basically limit down your opponent's options to basically nothing, whilst you were hitting away at their like 1 or 2 remaining Pokemon, and they could do nothing, and they would just lose the game because they have no Pokemon benched.
Right. I see.
Yeah, and
Interesting.
yeah, this is an absolutely nutty combo, and this was only really consistent because you could also grab Shaman EX from the Hoopa EX ability,
Which
of course. Yes, but like several cards that I just showed you here are banned. Like, for example, like I said, Island Challenge Amulet is banned. All these cards, by the way, got banned in like the same basic like patch, so to say, the same announcement. So the Mismagius also got banned.
Hoopa EX also.
No, Hoopa EX is not banned.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, so the Island Challenge Amulet are banned, Mismagius is banned, Chip Chip Ice Axe is banned, and Lieutenant Surge's Strategy is banned. Like 4 cards of this combo is banned, which is actually insane if you think about it. They usually want to ban as little cards as possible, but this combo was so fucking insane, and like honestly, I'm glad they banned Lieutenant Surge's Strategy back then and then. Because oh my god, that card would be stupid and expanded right now.
So centralized. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So is the crazy, basically the crazy combo deck. I got 5 out of top 8 placements in this Tokyo City League. Well, whereas there was only 1 ADP player in there in the top 8.
Oh Jesus! What? Just looking at ADP though, it looks insanely strong.
Oh yeah, ADP is easily like one of the strongest Pokemon ever released in the history of Pokemon, for sure.
Add the fact that there exists like a double dragon energy as well.
Yeah, it's just the fact that Pokemon Ranger exists that makes it like not the most insane thing in the world. So that was all 10 cards. You got, I think, 4 of them right, which is honestly pretty solid for someone who's never seen all of these cards before and doesn't know too much about Expanded. So good job on you.
Thank you. I wish I could have done a little better, but you know, I'm not. The only one I'm really mad about is like Trevenant.
Yeah, because I kind of baited you out of that. That was really mean by me, by the way, but I wanted to see what your resolve was at. Yeah. So thanks everyone so much for watching. If you want to see more content like this, please let me know in the comments. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, please subscribe to Soul's channel. I would really, really appreciate it if you did. For now, I'm going to say goodbye, and maybe until next time. See you later, guys. Peace.